I am literally going to start with a laugh.
It wouldn't be a meeting with us if it didn't.
Oh my gosh. So, welcome, gorgeous souls, to a juicy, joyful episode of Live Your Best Laugh with the oh so fantabulous Sarah Lloyd, who is a storytelling alchemist. She's a PR witch. I bloody love that. That's an amazing title. And she's the host of Shameless Stories podcast. She's been in the media and PR for 27 years, like a
No, all of you.
proper, yeah, you wouldn't know. Yeah, obviously went into it very, very young, right?
Yeah.
But she quit her global corporate PR role in 2017, and I imagine hasn't looked back. We'll find out more. And it was in a bid to be a master of her own destiny, follow her passions, and to bring balance into her life. Oh my gosh, just love that. Just love that. So, welcome, my darling. I'm super excited to have you on the pod. I know we're going to have a juicy conversation. Um, I just know it. I can feel it. But would you like to just say hello, add anything else you want to add? I know I've given you just a little intro, but anything else you want to add about yourself, my darling? And hello to all our gorgeous
No,
listeners.
I'm absolutely honored to be here. And yeah, just hi everyone. I'm really excited to be here. And yeah, my God, it's back to school vibes at the moment. So I started the day singing and dancing around the kitchen. I have two kids. Join the dots.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Being intentional about how you want to feel. It's
Yeah.
important, right? Important and necessary. It's very easy for us to forget that we can seize moments just like that, right? And
Yeah.
to refuel and reset ourselves and put a little bounce and a spring in our heart. I love that. I love that. As I said, I'm super excited about having you on the pod, my darling. We
I'm
have
really
been connected for, I'm trying to think how long we've been connected now.
I think I started stalking you
Did
probably
you?
2 or 3 years ago. I was like, I want a piece of that. In one of your sessions, it's like, I need to be involved. This needs to go everywhere because my PR brain will always go, wow, this is the next big thing. And I can just sense it. And I just needed to be in your energy because at the time it was breath work and it was shamanic healing, and then there's this joy laughter thing, and I'm like, this is what we all need. Like, so I needed it at the same time. So yeah, I think that's where I found you, and then yeah, we worked well. I'm in your group, so I'm loving
Yeah.
it.
And oh, bless you. And I think our first real live squeezingness was probably mind, body, spirit, wasn't it? Was
Yeah.
it there?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we have been interconnected over a few years, and now we're bumping into each other at gorgeous, spiritual, wonderful events. And seeing each other in real life, which really like is just so important, isn't it? And so lovely. And I think so often a lot of us are doing stuff online and then we see the person in the flesh and we're like, I'm coming in, I'm coming in.
Like, shit, you're taller than I thought you
Yeah,
were.
yeah. I'm coming in for a squeeze. I'm not letting go. Oh, yes, we could geek off endlessly, but I do have some things I'd really love to dive into with you because, yeah, I really value what you share. And like I said, I know we're going to have like a juicy chat around it. So, what I'd love to pick up on, when you were sharing your bio with me, I always love to have a little read through, and I was like reading it, going, "Oh my God, she's bloody amazing, this woman!" Like honestly, when you look at the show notes, like her bio is like, "Whoa, incredible!" But a sentence that's really jumped out to me was when you were saying about you became like really passionate about using your own voice and giving confidence to others to do the same. And I was like, in fact, my my hair's on my arms, because it's like, it's just that thing of like, oh, like there's so many of us wanting people to feel this and doing it in many different ways, which is what I love, because the people will find the ways that speak to them, right? But what I'd love to know, because that is essentially a very long question that I haven't actually even properly asked, right? But what I'd love to know is like, why this passion for using your own voice and for giving others the confidence to do the same? Because I think it's so important. So I'd love to hear the why.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like the why. I'm just trying to think, how can I answer this without going into a full blown story? It's in itself, but it is about. I mean, I started my life in PR. I worked for tech companies. I worked for defense companies. I was in all the masculine industries you could possibly imagine. And kind of long story short, I met the guy I knew I was going to have children with, had children, suffered with horrendous postnatal depression with the first
Wow.
child. Didn't even know. It was that to that point where I was like, I've had this baby. Goodbye. I,
Right.
I was really shut off from a lot
Mm.
of my emotions and feelings, which probably will dive us into other things. And it was my second daughter who was the straw that broke the donkey's back. Effectively, I managed to kind of be a great, I was mum, I was making all the money, I was at the top of my game in my in corporate. I was picking this child up, putting it in nursery, picking it up again, shoving it in bed, and like the poor thing, she probably was like, what the hell, who is this person? But then the second daughter came along and the postnatal depression hit even harder. And I just didn't know what it was. And it was really bizarre because then I found Rebecca Campbell. I started reading her books. Glastonbury was calling me. This was all kind of happening as I was working and
Mm.
managing and having minor breakdowns every other week, and juggling two small kids under the age of 3. And I got to a point where I'd read this book on holiday and I was like, I need to do something different with myself. I just don't know what it is. I wasn't happy. I thought having kids would make me happy. I thought I'd feel that joy. I didn't. I thought I'd be happy at the top of the career ladder. I wasn't. I had money. It was
Mm.
great, but I wasn't happy at bottom line. And I took the steps to try and change that. I found Rebecca. I went on her first ever retreat. I met 20 women in circle. I sat there in Glastonbury for a week and sobbed, cried, just massive purge, emotional purge with loads of amazing women who are still friends of mine today. And it was the start of something. And I came back I felt like a different person. I felt like
Mm.
this, I'd opened my heart. I'd realized that there was just, being masculine when you're a mum is not, it just wasn't serving me. So I let that part of myself be seen and be witnessed. And in doing so, I met all these amazing women who had amazing stories to share. And I was like, why do we not know about this stuff? Why are people
Mm.
not talking about, postnatal depression? Why are we not talking about these topics? Why are we not talking about meeting angels and fairies and unicorns and whatever it is that makes us feel better about ourselves? Why do we not talk about this? And, this was in 2017. And at the time, it all kind of collided. I was, I had a new boss. He came in, started to restructure. And around that time, I was turning 40. I was about to go on honeymoon because we'd prolonged our honeymoon, so we went to Las Vegas. And just before I went, my boss went, hey, so there's no role for you anymore. But
Wow.
we can give you a job that's equivalent, in a completely different department, same money, blah blah blah. Go away and think about it. If not, we can give you voluntary redundancy. And at the time, I mean, I'd asked for this like 6 months before. I'd been sat in Glastonbury going, how can I change my life?
Right.
How do I use all the tools that I've learned over the last X many years. How can I use that for good? And 6 months later, I was made redundant. 3 months after that, I'd found a nice part-time corporate job to keep me going. And then I started my business. And that's where I realized that there were so many powerful stories that women were not sharing. They didn't know the first thing about it. Like, there was one woman who was sat there who was using Reiki to clear and cleanse people's energy. I was like, you need to tell people about this. So off I trotted to Soul and Spirit magazine. It made them my best friends, and the rest is history, really. It was more about, I didn't know that you could use energy healing or holistic methods, or all of that was completely closed off to me. And I just woke up and it was like, we need to tell everybody about this stuff. Why are we just focusing on this one kind of path that's been laid out for us? Why are we not deviating and exploring and having fun with it? And that's basically where the answer to the question was, why is because there's so many people that are doing amazing things that people don't know about. And I have the tools and the know-how to get people out there to share those things, whether it's on a podcast, in a magazine, talking about it at the school gates. I mean, the amount of books I've sold for my clients by talking about it to people. It's just giving people that confidence to know that they can just have those difficult conversations, or feel understood or met where they are.
Oh, do you know, there's so much I love about that, but I think that the biggest thing I love about it is how you can put yourself in a space for a week and literally your whole life can change.
Yeah, massive
On it. You got the healing that you so needed, that space to allow it. And it's taken you on a trajectory where, like, the ripple is huge. Because then the amount of people that then you must have met and then supported and guided to share their voice with their stories, like that's immense, isn't it? Like, if that hadn't happened, then all of that wouldn't have happened, would it?
No. Yeah, thank you for witnessing me in that, because sometimes I think, oh yeah, what am I actually doing? And then
really? Wow. I mean, God, I literally listened to that and I was like in awe. Honestly. Like the ripple effect of that decision, and that, and also, let's not underplay, like, must have probably felt, I imagine, hard to go on the Glastonbury thing, right? Because this is the real struggle with us trying to, like, seek the love we desire, seek the joy we desire, to get back to believing ourselves, all the things which help us feel more like us, is when we're in a sticky place. It's really hard to then be in that space. So, like really celebrating yourself for that decision, and then all the things that then happen because of it, like, it's incredible, like, really incredible. So I really hope you kind of own, and I really hope you own that, because there'll be a ton of women going, my gosh, thank you so much, because of you, like, this has got to happen. It's all being, I think, the more of us that can be part of, like, this ripple of magnificence, this ripple of love, this ripple of, like, togetherness, connection, being the collective, this is how we get to, like, bring the world up. And I do really believe we can do it.
Yeah, and it is happening, because even 5 years ago, I was helping people talk about coming out of the spiritual closet. I'm in inverted commas, but people weren't talking about breath work and crystal healing and Reiki and energy healing, and now that it's part of the everyday vernacular. Maybe it's because of the people I'm surrounded by, but I think I went from being called a woo-woo witch by my husband doing the voodoo to, oh, you're using your crystals for your energy heat. Like, even that reframe is happening around. Like, I remember I did a piece in the Daily Mail about my secret, and my secret was that I always spoke to trees and love, you know, I could speak, I could sense other beings, and I was clairvoyant effectively. And I remember second guessing that feature and going, oh my god, but what if it's not true? And it's like, but it is true, hang on, you do talk to trees, what are you on about? And I remember having the conversation with the women that were on the retreat with me, and they said, you know, Sarah, come on, we've seen how magical you are, you just need to own it. And I
Mm.
did the piece and had the photos, and you know, I appeared in the Daily Mail. And the thing that was the scariest part was walking out of the school and getting stopped by about 4 mums, and I was like, oh, shit, I saw you in the Daily Mail, I can't believe you read cards, can you do mine? Oh, do you do,
Right.
oh, can you? And these little covert, these little conversations that would have been kept behind closed doors became conversations that were happening on the school run, and discussions with women that, you know, you know, even it was okay to talk about this stuff. And it sounds really silly, but like 5 6 years ago people weren't talking about that sort of thing, but now
Yeah, and you know, it doesn't sound silly at all. And I've noticed like more and more and more in the last 18 months, like you're saying about like Reiki and breath work and like so many more people know about laughter yoga now. So many more people, you know. So like definitely the tide is shifting towards people being much more open to try it, to hear about like all these different things. And I also think when we are willing to have the spotlight shone on us, right,
mm,
which this takes, you know, we have to feel confident enough to own it, to use our voice like you're saying, and to yeah, to really kind of claim who we are, and that cannot be an easy thing for sure. But when we really decide, then that's what gets to happen. And then what happens because of us going, okay, we'll have this light shone on us. Like, you know, I'll be in the Daily Mail and I'll talk about this thing. Other people go, oh, and it shines a light on them. And then
yeah,
they go, oh, okay, so I can do that. Oh, yeah, so I can step forward. I can ask for this. I can, oh my gosh. Oh my. So, like people, you know, we need people to step forward. We need people to go, I'm doing this thing, you know?
yeah, it's all about giving them permission to shine.
Yeah.
And I mean, I often put myself out there because I need to be able to feel the feelings that my clients might feel. So it's all about being in service for me. It's about, you know, if I stand on the stage, what does that feel like in my body? Okay, well, now I can explain that to somebody who's absolutely like scared witless of standing on the stage and speaking, and being able to be their wing woman effectively. I become a cheerleader, I become their wing woman, and you know, help them to see how amazingly magical they are, even if they can't see it at the time. And we all need that in our lives. We all need somebody to cheer us on at points in our life, and I'm definitely one of those. People don't always stay with me, but I like to think that I give them that boost to get them to where they need to go.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I so resonate because I always say to clients, like, I'll cheerlead you till it feels comfy for you to do it for yourself. And you know, like this is everybody needs cheerleading, right?
Yeah,
Everybody needs it like even when you get really, I'm really like, I can do it for myself, we still need our tribe doing it too, right? And for
yeah.
some people to cheerlead themselves is like that's a million miles away from like
Oh,
how they feel. So like to have like somebody or a SWAT team of people like lifting, lifting, lifting until you get to do it again. Like it's yeah, this is how we thrive, isn't it? We are not here as a solo enterprise, are we?
no.
We are like we are tribal people. We're here to be supported, but it can feel stretchy for us to allow it. And that's why, like, you know, in the work that you do, the work that I do, it's like, you know, just allow yourself to be held, seen and supported, you know, get comfortable, get safe in your body with who you are. And then God, like, you know, it's limitless what people can do when they like come back here, come home, isn't it?
100%. Yeah, yeah. And it's great to have people around you when you're not feeling, when, you know, when an old story plays out, because that does happen, right? We were talking about this before.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think we spend most of our lives building the stories in our 20s, and then we spend the rest of our lives unraveling them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and also like this, I have this conversation a lot, and I'm sure you'll resonate. Like the more we kind of go in, the more the things that, you know, because we've done a whole lot of living. So there's going to be a whole ton of stuff in there. But the more you kind of go in and do the stuff, then something else might present. And it's like if you are in spaces where you feel good to let that shit go, then that stuff gets to be released. Like just this weekend, I've been at Om and Base, and I was saying before we hit record, I was hosting one session, and the rest of the time I literally have been on a retreat with myself, like all weekend. I must have. It kind of makes me really laugh because I never do this many sessions at festivals, but I did 6 on Saturday. I did I hosted Sunday, but I also did a 3 or something on the. I've done a ton of sessions, right? So I have literally been like releasing, like crying, laughing, letting out, body shaking. And on Sunday, I hosted my session, and I went straight from that into breath work with Josh Connolly. And he is freaking brilliant. I'd experienced him once before, and I knew he was on. And I went in and I had that whole, when your whole body is shaking, big tears, meeting 5-year-old self. It was just incredible. And at the end, someone came up to me and she went, in fact, 3 people came up and they went, I was in your laughter yoga, and God, I really released in this because I did yours first, and it totally opened me up. And then
Yeah.
someone else came along and just went, I want to give you a hug because you're crying. And I did your laughter yoga last year, and it totally changed things for me. And she was like, but you're crying. I was like, yeah, it's great. I'm crying. Just had a really freaking big release, and I really wanted to. And I, you know, but it was so beautiful that she came to hold, you
Yeah.
know. But I was like, it's good for us to get this shit out, you know. It like she was someone who trained in laughter yoga and then not used it because joy felt a million miles away from her. And she was like, I I started to remember having been in your session. I was like, okay, it's in there, but we've got to go and meet the shits. You
Yeah.
know, I didn't particularly go into the session with something specific, but there's always stuff, right? There's always stuff. And if we're willing and open, like this is how I get to dance with joy, is because I allow a fuck ton of sadness and shit to come through.
But
You
that,
know
I
what I
think
mean?
that's it, isn't it? That's the spiritual whitewash we sometimes do on ourselves. Like, I must be love and light at all times.
Yeah.
I must be happy at all times. It's but
All fucking shit, isn't it?
we have to feel everything. Like even like this morning, my daughter, like you were saying, you had lots of releasing. I had loads of releasing this weekend. I gave myself the space to. I went bike riding. I laid on the bed and did a breath work and let myself release and cry, and I could feel the grief because my daughter started senior school, and there, you know, there is a little ending of a cycle there, the ending of summer, the ending of, you know, and the beginning of, you know, something new. And it's like, it's a knowing and understanding. Like me 5, 6, 7 years ago would never have even considered that. I would have probably tried to get someone else to fix me.
Right.
And now through the work I do with people like yourself and going to the workshops and going on the retreats and understanding my own energy and understanding what I need to do, I am able to shift things. I mean, I still need help because you know, you do need people to help you, you know, make big releases, especially if you, like for you, I can imagine it was a massive release because of everything you've held over the summer. And again, it's like it's giving ourselves the space and understanding that we need to let go of some of this stuff. And like, I'm looking at one of your questions here. It's interesting because I never knew what true joy felt like.
Right.
When I say true joy, and I said that I was unhappy, on the surface I was happy. You know, I had a nice husband, I had a nice house, I had nice children, everything was nice, had the nice money, had the nice car, all the nice things. But I was unhappy inside, and my soul was hurting. And the reason why I was happy is because everything was on a surface level. There was no depth. It was all, if I start to feel sad, I'll have a glass of wine. If I need to feel happy, I'll go out with my friends and laugh at somebody else. It was, it was almost a toxic joy. It was a forced happy.
Mm.
What I found in the last 5-6 years, like you were saying, you can't meet joy like your lady who trained in laughter yoga, you can't quite get there. I think there's so many layers to us as humans where we've built up like what joy and happiness should look like. We forget what it actually feels like, what it actually is. Do you know what
Yeah.
that makes sense?
Oh God, yes, yes, totally. And this is the thing. It's we've almost mislabeled joy,
Yeah.
right? In our heads, a
And
lot of
love
us.
and all of the words.
Yeah, well, yeah, true, totally true. So a lot of the time we're making it extrinsic, right? Like you say, you're like, oh, I'll go out with my mates and we'll laugh at this thing, and this will make me, this will give me the thing. Oh, I have a glass of wine here and da da da, and it's not to say these occasions won't feel joyful, right, doing the thing, but what it is it's deciding that joy has this thing, it's this label of like, this is what it is. And actually it's really recognizing that one, it's in here, like all the things, right? It's here, like we are the creators.
Yeah.
Okay, it's about like the internal validation of it as opposed to all this external validation stuff, and that comes into, like, I feel everything we do, like, when we get to a place of internal validation, fuck me, our world changes,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
doesn't it?
Well, yeah,
Like
coming from our
seismically.
everything's external validation. It's
Yeah,
all the trappings of what's going, what's outside of ourselves. And actually, like you say, the trick is to ignore all that.
yeah. It's not an easy piece, right? So, like, anyone that's listening might be going, oh, it's not an easy piece, and I really recognize that. However, if you're willing to go there, it's absolutely doable. It's about like undoing some old beliefs and rewiring some ingrained kind of narratives that we have around, they're often should things, right? About what things,
Will have
like,
fun.
yeah, do you know what I mean? What things should look like. And I think the big thing with joy is, for people, I feel like the narrative a lot of people have is, it has to be really freaking big and great, and then I've got my joy. And the trouble with that is we're then really limiting it to little pockets here and there. And, like, then when all the in between spaces, we're missing out on it. So, like, the biggest shift you can ever have with joy is just to absolutely find it in the tiniest, tiniest little things every single day. And don't worry about the fact that there may have been a ton of shit in between. It doesn't matter, right? Our days can look like this. Our weeks can look. People can't see if I'm doing, like roller coaster. Like,
Yeah.
up at, like, it's not about perfection. It's not about, I'm this happy, sparkly unicorn. It's just not real.
Yeah.
So, like, as we're recording this, like, I'm in the cabin at the end of my garden and I can feel like it's a sunny day. And if I, like, glance to my left, like, there's like a little triangle of grass that is lit by the sun as it's coming up because it's the morning, and I'm like, that is freaking joy to me.
Yeah.
That is absolute beautiful joy. And I can picture my toes going out to just nestle in the grass. It's a tiny little thing, but in these tiny little things, that they are huge.
Yeah.
They are huge because, like, when we look back at our lives, and we never know, and this is why, if people can start shifting more towards bringing more of it in, like in tiny little increments, because we just don't know how long we're here. We really don't know, you know. And when we look back over our lives, we will remember little things like that.
Yeah.
It's not going to be these big huge things. It's going to be, oh, I just remember that like little squeeze I had in the sunshine with blah blah blah, and that lovely little chat, or when I just lay on the grass and just went, oh, you know, like that splash in the sea. And you know, like there is joy around us. We just, it's about opening our eyes and looking, like really looking and being here. So often, and I'm like, I'm still super guilty of this, you know, like we're all human, looking forward, looking forward, looking forward, you know, instead of like, oh, okay, I'm just going to be in this moment, because in this moment, there's going to be a ton of magic and I'm going to be missing it if I'm going, oh, I'm a bit worried about that thing that hasn't happened. And will that thing happen? And what about that thing next month? And, you know, all those things that like rabbit around our brain, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
It's nuts, isn't it? You know, and I just think, yeah, there's so many ways that we can just bring more of it in, and in so doing, you know, this is when we can like start shedding some of these layers and just feel a bit more like ourselves, instead of the person that maybe we think we ought to be, or others think we ought to be, or like, or we think that others think that we ought to be.
I
Do
mean,
you know what I mean?
I mean, when I went through all the work with all the kind of awakening stuff, I kept getting this voice, why so serious?
Right.
And I think that again in itself, I went on this search for joy, but I didn't appreciate that it's in those small moments. So thank you for that, because it is like it's like watching your kid's hair in the breeze.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's the tiny moments that you really don't appreciate until they've gone.
Yeah, honestly, and I say this a lot when I deliver my sessions, but like children are our best teachers, because they are in that, right? Because they would go, oh, "There's a feather." Oh my gosh, like, and they jump in a puddle, and they like, you know, they're just, they are so wired for joy in its absolute purity. So when we're feeling a bit lost, it's like think about what would a toddler be getting excited about? You know, they'd be like, they'd be excited because they're holding onto the side of a sofa and like trying to stand, and they're wiggling their bodies. And again, like, what lessons, when we move our bodies, we start to shift stuff, you know. So they are incredible guides, and I think like always coming back to that space is like super helpful for us. And just thinking that actually it doesn't have to be all glitzy and whatever. And I think this danger that we can have as humans, that, you know, in our working lives, we live for the holiday, and the holiday is going to be joyful, and anyone that's got kids that's ever been on holiday will be
It's not.
going, shit, they can be absolutely great and they can be really freaking tough. Okay. You know, so if we are like waiting for joy, you know, if we're parking her over there, like we're doing her a disservice, and we're doing ourselves a disservice, because those 2 weeks in Greece or whatever, you know, are not going to be the epitome of joy herself. She's going to try to jump in, but we're all humans. And when all humans in the same family are all in the same space, it's all going to get messy at times, you know. And I'm sure I'm not just talking about my own holiday experiences. I'm sure I'm talking about everyone the world over that is honest about stuff like that, you
Yeah.
know. So like don't wait. Like, don't wait. It's like, this is why finding it in the absolute minuate is like, that's where we get the seismic shifts. And all, you know, all we need to do as well, really, is like look at anyone we know and love whose life has had to change where they haven't expected, right? What would they give for, you know, like for feeling a simplistic little thing which maybe they can no longer do with ease or at all, you
Yeah.
know, and things like that always bring me back to that. When I've got caught up in my own head again, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why have you? Oh, okay, yeah, I'm a human. I forgot that. I thought I was invincible, but I'm not, you know. And then I go, oh, come on, like, come on, you know.
I found a really useful phrase. And I've, it's been bounced around on the socials, but it's become like this summer it was really edgy, and I stretched and held so much, and I'm so happy I was able to do that and experience that. And it was the I get to, I get to,
Yes,
I
I
get to
love that phrase.
I get to just the girls were like, let's go. We were at my mum's and let's go camping. I was like, I don't think I've got everything we need. Mum, it doesn't matter. We can just go. And I'm like, okay, well, let's just let me get a few supplies. And we get to, my daughter found it. It was great. It was just amazing. And they're the moments where we rocked up in this amazing field where we got to watch the sun go down. They had the park, they were running around, they were fluting about on their electric scooters together, and it was just, that was joy.
Yeah,
Whereas we did have a week in Mallorca and it was lovely and there were some amazing moments, but yeah, it's like you say, we kind of schedule it. And that was the thing again for me. I used to, my big piece for finding joy, well, I always found joy in dancing. I used to be a dancer when I was a kid, and but again it was all about prescribed scheduled joy, like to do
mm,
all the exercises, and then you got to do the joy bit, the dancing bit, where my whole body lit up and I could feel it like coming out of me. And yeah, it was interesting because I remember when I like it had this journey with joy. It was like, well, I have to schedule it. I have to schedule joy. Otherwise, I'll never feel it. And
right.
like you were saying, it's about, you know, not looking for it in everyday moments, the magic in the mundane, if you like.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? We can absolutely build our joy muscle, you know. So if joy feels a million miles away, it's like, okay, start small, you know, like start with just every day finding one thing to feel really grateful for, because gratitude and joy, they dance together. More
Yeah,
gratitude, more joy, like it, like build. They're like, they are a beautiful marriage, right? So even if like joy feels over here, like there's many practices we can do for sure, but like just one thing to feel gratitude for every single day, you get to then build that muscle, much like if we want to like learn to be a runner, we get out, we can't suddenly just run 5k. We've got to build. So like tiny little increments. I think so often we are too unkind to ourselves. We expect ourselves to do this thing just like that and be brilliant. It's like, be kind, be gentle, show yourself love, you know, do a thing, celebrate that, really
yeah,
celebrate yourself for it, and then like build slowly. But each time, like, really recognize what you're doing. You
yeah,
know, it's amazing to like want to activate change, isn't it? You
yeah,
know, it's like it's a powerful thing. So I think never underestimate the choices you make to like shift and change your life, you know. Yeah. I
mm,
think
yeah.
it's yeah, it's so important to remember that, because often we get sick and we go, oh, we haven't mastered that. It's like, you know, just be kind.
I
Like, and
see
it,
that in my kids as well. Like that's starting to appear. Oh, I'm not
right.
good enough at that. I'm not going to try. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. And it breaks my heart because I'm like, oh, just, you can't swim if you're reading about it. You
Yeah.
have to actually physically do the act. And that for me is
Yeah.
a big part of this summer. I got a bike for my birthday, which sounds like nothing, but I haven't ridden a bike since I was 15. I fell off my bike and I never got back on it again.
Right.
I was like, do you know what? I'm going to remove that story. I'm going to buy myself a bike and I'm going to go and enjoy it. And I we've got woods, and like you'll laugh at me, but I was screaming my head off.
Oh, I love that.
It's like, what's wrong with you, mum? I'm having time. I can feel, oh my God. It was just so joyful. So a
Oh,
little bit
beautiful.
of joy now, because I now go out on my bike every day and I
Oh,
whoop all the way around the woods.
oh,
It's just amazing because, it's a moving body, it's it's the adrenaline, it's all of the things. And like
yeah,
that's helped massively.
yeah. I
So,
love that. I love that. I'd love to know what, like, when you think about being joyful, like what does that mean to you? What does that feel like to you? Joyful.
joyful. My whole body is like singing with just
Mm,
like fuzzing, fizzing, like really like, yeah, I'm feeling that today, definitely. But I think that's because I put some practices in place to feel that way, like dancing around the kitchen, going
yes.
on the bike. There are things that don't fill me with joy, but like going in my van, sitting in my van just brings me, I didn't allow that to bring me joy for a little while, because that was a decision that I made without consulting my husband. And I felt like I wasn't allowed to enjoy him.
Right.
And then this year, it's like, I'm going to enjoy this van. I bought this van with my own money, and he's part of the family, and he has his own aura. I'm pretty sure of it. So I love
Right.
it in him.
Oh,
But there was a really funny thing, like my kids and my husband are like, oh, I feel a bit sick when we go in the van. It's like, you're like dissing my van, like you make
yeah.
me feel sick. Not coming in again then. I think my aura is like making everybody feel ill when so yeah, whether my van's on my side, I don't know. But
We're going to do a little bit of laughter in a moment, but before we do, like you've touched on a few things, but I always think it's really helpful for people who are listening in, because we can all feel like joy is a million miles away sometimes, right? We that's just us and our humanness, and it's totally okay, right? But what isn't helpful is kind of staying in that state, right? Because it just doesn't support us, doesn't support people around us, and this isn't like bypassing the stuff. It's like allow the feels and then find the things that get you like past that and then back into, something that feels okay and then more towards being in your joy. So like you
yeah.
mentioned going on your bike, and dancing and your lovely van. I'd love to know his name because obviously you've given him a gender. So
Yeah, he's called Harry.
Harry. Oh, so like these are things that have helped you enjoy, feels like far away. What do you have any other kind of go-to things? Because like obviously people can, if they've got a bike, can get out on their bike, they can dance around. The van thing is a different thing. Like what like practical things have you done which have helped you to like, yeah, allow you to feel more like yourself again?
Oh, I just I basically leaned into all the things I used to love doing as a kid, which is
Right.
saying. So I had to go at roller skating, not so good at that. It didn't really bring me joy, but having them on my feet and looking at them and being proud to have them made me feel joyful. Getting Harry was always a dream. My camper van, I always wanted to like travel around and feel confident doing so. So this summer I really did that, and that fills me with joy because he's fully stocked now.
Yeah.
On my bike as well. I'm spending time with the kids, like just just hanging out. And like we love watching, there's a TV program called Bluey, and they're getting to the point where they're a bit old for it now, but it's something that we just love to do together. And like there's lots
Mm,
of games in that, and just having a little bit of a dance. I bought a beautiful disco ball thing, and sometimes we'll have a little impromptu Friday night disco or something. Just like, I don't know, it's like you say, it's all the small bits. And
yeah. And that's all connection, right? And this
Yeah,
is the thing. I think when joy feels a million miles away, we're disconnected. We're disconnected from ourselves. We're
yeah,
disconnected from others. You know, I know when I felt like that, I would really intentionally hide away from other people, and not see my friends and not catch up with people because I was like, I'm just feeling too far removed. And I'll avoid, right? That
yeah,
used to be my real default pattern, and obviously that just doesn't serve you, doesn't support you, because all these people want to support you. So I think, all that you're sharing, it's like it's connection
yeah.
with yourself.
But with boundaries as well. That's another
Right.
big
Yeah.
for me. It's like I used to go the complete other way and I'd be out every night and I'd be basically I would burn myself out with peopling. What I realized about myself is that I do need to temper that with a bit of in time,
Yes.
time processing whatever it is. I think I'm not sure if that's the introvert in me. I mean, the job that I do, PR, you have to be out and peopling, but there
Mm.
are times when I love to be, squished up with a book, with a cup of tea, with a bar of chocolate. That brings me joy as well. So,
Oh
um,
God, I hear you. Yeah. I
but
I think one of the biggest gifts I've learned over the last few years is learning what I get to say yes to and what I get to say no to, and feeling all right with it.
yeah,
And however anyone else feels around it, deciding that that isn't about me, you
yeah,
know. So I will, if I've made an arrangement and for some reason it doesn't feel like the right thing to do because I've really got to look after my energy or whatever, I'm really happy with saying, like, just stating that it's not for me, and that's okay. It's so important, isn't it, to serve our needs and not feel like we have to do something to, like, people please, and so everyone likes us, and it's like, it's safe to say no. I've cancelled going out for dinner tonight with old school friends, because my daughter is up at 3 o'clock to go to Luton Airport with a boyfriend. My husband's doing the driving, but we're all going to be awake, right?
yeah,
And she isn't organised still. And I know that what's going to happen probably at some point this evening is there'll be like I shared before, we realised that she wasn't insured. And that was something which, like I'd admitted. And then, and then I'm like, so is it okay for me? Do I really want to be in a restaurant 7 till 10, 10:30? It's just not going to work for me tonight, like, so it's okay to say no. And I feel really, like, you get to a place of peace of like, oh, thank God, because I think years ago I would have just gone, or I would have, um, stressed around it. Whereas it's just like, it just isn't going to work for me now because my daughter suddenly decided she's going on holiday last minute after the arrangement being made, and actually it's just too much, and it's okay, you know. Right, let's have some laughter, and then we probably should wrap up, shouldn't we?
yeah. I was going to say,
we've,
oh, I'll
we've
catch you.
I know we've had a very juicy long chat, but let's fit, because I always think it's great for people to feel the energy of laughter, and we can do it so simply, so beautifully, so just like, anytime, any place, anywhere. And whilst it can feel something that's unusual slash different, uncomfortable, stretchy for people to do, it's like it's in us. And again, it's that little child analogy. And if we, like, keep coming back to this, it gets to feel easier, and then it can become a way of life. And that's where big shift happens. So we're just going to do some laughter breaths. Is that good?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good with me.
So we're going to take a breath in, and then we're just going to breathe out and laugh. Okay. So big breath in and exhaling. Oh, let's do another breath in and exhaling. Oh, and I love a rotation of three. Let's do one more. Breath in, big juicy exhale. Oh,
Hysterical word.
oh. How are you feeling after that?
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah, amazing.
Oh, it honestly has been a joy to talk to you, my darling.
Always a joy.
Um,
Love it.
we could talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. I'm conscious of your time and listeners' time, but we've covered a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff. So, before we wrap up, can you just let people know? Obviously, I'll share all your deets in the show notes, but can you just let people know where to find you? Perhaps there's something exciting that they can find out about at the moment. Bearing in mind, I'm not quite sure when I'm airing this, but
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, you can find me on www.iamsarahllloyd.com, and you can listen in to Shameless Stories on all the podcast places as well. Um, if this hasn't gone out by the time Mind Body Spirit Festival Birmingham is on, I am there. I'm hosting a stage.
ooh,
So yeah, that's very exciting. So come see me if
exciting.
you are about.
Yeah. Oh, amazing, amazing. Yeah. And actually like Mind Body Spirit, it's just such a beautiful weekend. So definitely recommend getting there. I'm going to be there on the Sunday. So yes, so I'll be coming along to your stage, your area, my darling. It has been a total joy. Thank you so much, my darling. And yeah, all the listeners, please do reach out to Sarah if you want to ask anything or check anything. And we'd love to hear how you found the episode. So take care, my lovelies. And again, thank you so much, darling Sarah.
Thank you so much.